All right, so these are constant reminders as we head out into the world. Stay heavily meditated. Oh, and if you're used to walking barefoot, it's way easier to walk on the rocks and stuff than if you're not used to walking barefoot. But if um, you're not used to doing that, then it does take some getting used to it, you know? And when we get used to doing things that we're not used to doing, they become the thing that we're used to doing, right? So we change what we do by what we choose right now in as many right nows as we know as possible. So we're gonna drive to town, and there's probably gonna be some real pauses here in this video, but we'll go and see. Like I'm barefoot a lot, even in the snow and ice, and not for extended period of time because, I mean, that's dumb, right? I mean, that's why we have shoes or boots. But if we um, if we get comfortable with being aware all of the time, because that's one of the things about barefoot is you become very aware where you step, right? And if you let's see here, I think I can switch this for a second. Okay, whoa. Hi. Yeah, so when we're barefoot, we're very aware of the temperature of the ground. We're very aware of a pebble or a sharp, um, or even a sharp piece of glass, whereas a shoe might just step right over it. When you're walking barefoot, you've got to be careful. I mean, you can't just be haphazardly walking through life, trudging through it without thinking that there's going to be some consequences, right? And that's where a lot of people, I think, are sitting, is because we've been insulated from our life experience for so long that now, oh, there's the reality of a video, right? All the time. Um, we're trudging through life. If we're not making our choices consciously right now, we're making them off of what we've held as a belief in the past. And if it's working for you, it's not requiring antidepressants or anti-anxiety or anti-diarrheal. If what you're doing is working for you, then I would say keep doing that, right? Keep doing that. But if it's not, if those things are present, or if you're happening to look for happiness or at least escape from your experience with alcohol or drugs, there might be some things that you should consider as options that you haven't yet explored in your life, right? And walking around barefoot is one thing that can help shift a lot of other things. And when we do that, I mean, yeah, the variety of my car sometimes. I've got a dishwasher back there that I replaced for a lady the other day. So this is my grocery getter, my get around car. But anyway, um, I'm real. You are. We're all just real. I'm just willing to share some of what I do and what I found to be okay, I've learned something, that if I'm gonna be able to live life, right, and I want to do it in a way that's my way, right? I mean, because why shouldn't my life be my way, right? Well, I mean, that's freedom, you know. And so, if I could choose 4 things in my life that I want to have as a foundation, right? Because usually there's There's four legs to a table, most of the time, because it makes it pretty stable. Okay? Health, happiness, peace, and abundance. Right? And then if you to add a fifth one, because we have 5 fingers, I would say people to share it with. Right? So in that, I've found health, happiness, peace, and abundance. And I've had people come in and out of my life to be able to share that with. And when we respect other people, we respect the right now moment, which the right now moment, through barefooting, we really learn to recognize. Because when you find that piece of glass, you realize you're like, oh shit, if I'm gonna be responsible for me, I need to make sure I'm really responsible for me. And being responsible for you, you find your health, happiness, peace, and abundance by not expecting it to come from somebody somewhere else, right? Because if it comes from somebody somewhere else, it can be taken away pretty easily. Oh, and so I can avoid being pulled over and extorted for lots of money, I better put that thing on, right? So, can you believe I got pulled over by a motorcycle cop one time because I wasn't wearing my seatbelt? I was like, can you even? Is there a level of intelligence required to have and hold this position? Because I thought it's more important than a barber, and it takes like 5 years for people to learn how to cut hairs, right? But yet, if you in just a few months, you can become a police officer that is supposed to be enforcing law and making sure that human rights are being honored. But then they don't teach them about human rights. They teach them how to enforce law and put people in front of a judge. For even barefooting, right? Because people have been arrested because they just haven't acquiesced to a barefooting regulation imposed by somebody somewhere else. Nobody can tell you why you can't be barefoot, but they'll tell you that you can't be barefoot, right? I mean, like people say you can't barefoot drive, but as you can see right down there, I'm barefoot driving, right? And it's actually safer than if I were to be wearing flip-flops, because I was walking the other day in flip-flops because there was an area that got goat heads and stuff, and those are still evil. Those are of the devil, I'm sure. But yeah, the strap ripped on them, right? And so something that you're using for footwear should be durable, I would think, right? But that's not always the case. So it's actually safer for me to have the predictability of my feet when I'm driving, when I'm operating pedals, than if I were to be putting a middleman in between that process with sandals or flip-flops and stuff. You got to look at a lot of the footwear. I mean, are you kidding me? I've even seen footwear where, like, I think it was for strippers or something, but it had goldfish in the shoes, in the heels. I mean, how long do those last? Are they replaceable? Are they little, like, screw-on jars? That's a good idea. Maybe another market plan. Goldfish and baby food jars, duct tape to the bottom of your shoes. I don't know. They've only been rubber-soled shoes for, like, the last 50 years. They used to be that we were connected to the earth. It used to be that we did have to pay attention to how we walked and make sure we didn't have a heel strike. We were using the muscles in our feet more often. There's a lot of things that have been manipulated in little ways that can achieve a big result. It's incremental. It's little manipulations of how things are said and done that create the world that we live in today, right? Phonetics, the power of the spoken word. These are all things that we really should know, but we don't. I mean, how many people know how to grow their own food? How many people know how to build their own shelter? How to ensure they're drinking clean water? How to live without constantly having to pay somebody somewhere else to exist? So, anyway, I'm coming into town. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video for a minute. Just checking in. You are time traveling. You are still time traveling. Walking through the water. Because why not? Your feet dry off right away. And looks like I'm going to have to volunteer some time over here and clean up some brush. It's infringing on the pathway. You know, it's a lot of old folks that are typically at this uh, place of this spiritual life center. Oh, and look, somebody's sharing their abundance, tidings, and all sorts of great ways.